this video, you're going to discover the number one habit that you must break in order to change your life. You're also going to discover how to achieve true long-lasting change using the quantum physics of personal transformation, because chances are that you've probably already tried to make changes in your life. You might have even mustered out the willpower to make some progress, but eventually that willpower ran out, your progress began to regress, and here you are watching this video. All right, now before we get into it, I just want to give you a quick warning that we will be diving deep. All right, so if you want to continue swimming in the shallow, if you want to remain comfortable with the ideas that you seek familiarity with, then I'll give you a second, click another cat video in your sidebar, and you can go back to the ordinary states of consciousness that you are used to. But if you are still with me at this point, my name is Mo Salim, and I help people close the gap between where they are and where they're capable of being, so that they can live the life that they were meant to live. Now, if you are serious about actualizing your potential, then we really have to start by questioning the nature of your beliefs about reality in the first place. All right, so as a society, really where we started, or where I want to start from, is Rene Descartes. All right, he's a guy who said, "I think, therefore I am." He was a famous French mathematician, scientist, philosopher, and he really is known as the founding father of modern philosophy. And he was a proponent of the mechanistic model of the universe, whereby everything is governed by predictable laws, and everything in the universe is like functioning like a machine. And what he couldn't integrate into this model was how human thought factored into it. All right, so because human thought was outside of the physical world, he basically just said that matter and the physical world, that is the study and the jurisdiction of science, whereas human thought and the mind, that is the jurisdiction of religion. And then he really set the path towards separating mind and matter. And then we have Sir Isaac Newton, who came around. He came up with his laws of motion. You probably remember them from middle school. I don't know if you do or not, but yeah, he basically built on top of this foundation of the mechanistic universe, and said that again, like everything's predictable, and that we as humans have very little influence on the way that things will play out. And this is really a paradigm that plagues society to this day, because it makes us play the victim, right? The victim mentality, whereby we think that we are in a particular position because of this, that, and the other thing, and then we don't really have the power to change it. But the separation of mind and matter makes us believe that we don't have the power to actually bend the structure of reality in our favor. All right, so it wasn't until Albert Einstein came around with his equation E is equal to mc squared, whereby he demonstrated that energy and matter are pretty much the same thing. All right, and what this did was it opened the doors for quantum physics experiments, right, where they're studying what behavior is taking place at the level of the atom. And as you know, every particle of matter is made up of atoms. Atoms make up of every aspect of the physical world. And what quantum physicists found was that at the subatomic level, the laws of Newtonian physics don't really apply. And one experiment that blows my mind every time I even think about it is the double slit experiment. I'll link out to it below. You can check out a detailed description of what actually went down. But basically, in summary, what quantum physicists found was that a photon, which is a particle of matter, sometimes it behaves like a wave function, and other times it behaves like a particle, which is matter. And what determines whether it was one or the other, and remember, according to classical Newtonian physics, it had to be one or the other, it couldn't be both. But what determined whether it showed up as a probability wave function or a particle was the mind of the observer. All right, when there was no observation being made, the particle of matter existed in a wave of endless possibilities. But only when the observation was made, was that it actually showed up as a particle of matter. All right, now how does this apply to you? Well, basically what this experiment demonstrated is that life as we know it exists in an endless wave of possibilities until we observe it. All right, so you have to understand that what this means is that there exists an infinite number of parallel realities. Some people call it the quantum field. That's by Dr. Joe Dispenza, who I'll be talking about soon as well. Some people call it the alternative space, who coined this term. It was Vadim Zeland who wrote the book Reality Transurfing. So basically, the gist of it is that a reality in which you are healthy, wealthy, wise, happy, fit, all of the things that you want, a reality of that already exists. All right, it's just waiting for your observation to take place so that it can manifest in the physical world as you know it, because it already exists. It's just not existing in this physical world right now. And of course, how do you make that happen? It comes down to breaking the number one habit that we'll talk about next. So Nikola Tesla, who by the way Elon Musk named his car company after, was a very influential and innovative scientist and philosopher and inventor. And he has a quote, and I quote, "If you seek the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency." And quantum physics has told us that everything is energy vibrating at a frequency. All right, when we look at an atom, which is basically the particles, like I said, that make up every single piece of matter in this known universe, an atom is 99.99999% empty space, quote unquote. All right, that empty space is actually pure potential. It's pure energy. And what determines whether that combination of atoms shows up as a picture frame, as a human, as a wall, as a roof, as a light bulb, what determines the expression of those atoms is the frequency of their vibration. Okay, so Dr. Joe Dispenza, who I mentioned previously, he has had a great influence on my thinking around this stuff. I will link out to some of his books below as well. So he says that thoughts are the language of the mind and emotions are the language of the body. And how we think and how we feel creates a state of being. But the problem that most of us face is that intellectually we want one thing, but bodily we are conditioned to want another thing. And this is when you know that you shouldn't be eating the pizza, but you do it anyway. You know you should be going to the gym, but you don't feel like it. And the problem is that the mind and body have become out of sync. And Dr. Joe Dispenza says that the body has actually become the mind, because it's running off, like your decisions are dictated by how you feel, your emotions, and the disharmony between the mind and the body is what results in this self-sabotage, whereby we might know what to do, but we don't do what we know. So the quantum field, which is, as you learned, the sea of infinite possibilities that already exist, does not respond to what we want. It responds to who we are being. All right, so it responds to our thoughts and our emotions. Our thoughts send an electrical signal out to the quantum field, and our emotions magnetically draw those experiences back to us. Okay, so really what it comes down to is, like I said, everything is vibrating. Not like I said, but Nikola Tesla influenced us to think about in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency. Right, so if you want to create the life that you want, it's not enough to want, you have to think the thoughts and feel the emotions that send the electromagnetic signal out to the quantum field that will draw those events back to you. All right, so the problem is that most of us, like I said, are going through the subconscious loop. Okay, we are, a lot of us are thinking the same thoughts, which lead to the same choices, which lead to the same decisions, which lead to the same experiences, which cause us to experience the same emotion. So it's like a loop. All right, so in order to break out of that loop, like I said, everything is energy vibrating at a frequency, and your vibration is determined by how you think and how you feel. So to change your vibration, you literally have to change how you think and how you feel. And because how you think and how you feel determines your state of being, the number one habit that you must break in order to change your life is the habit of being yourself. All right, So this is an entire book that Dr. Joe Dispenza wrote as well. I'll link out to it below. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. But remember that the only thing in this universe that's holding you back from that next level of development, that next level of improvement, is yourself. And the only way that you're gonna achieve that result is by breaking that habit. Ouch, my ring just fucked up my knuckle. So a lot of us try to make the changes in our life with determination, with willpower, with hustle, with grind, and trying to get that certain result. But the problem is that we are trying to achieve a certain result that is outside our realm of experience while still being the same person, right? So this is why we end up reverting back to who we are in the first place, or who we were, is because we haven't experienced that deep level of identity level change whereby the events would be drawn to us. We're still trying to exert all that force, trying to go towards somewhere, and although we might be able to make some progress, that progress never lasts because we haven't changed who we are on a fundamental level. All right, it's only when your thoughts are clear, your emotions are in line with how you think, your mind and body are working together, there's a resonance, that is only then will your body and your state of being be sending a clear and coherent signal to the quantum field, whereby you will be able to experience the change in your day-to-day life. All right, now of course this is easier said than done, but really it comes down to doing the things or thinking the thoughts that align with your higher goals. And if you are not, obviously realizing that you are not your thoughts, getting the observation, mastering your mind, mastering the inner dialogue that's taking place, mastering your self-talk, because so many of us, like I said, are running off of this subconscious programming that might have been installed in childhood, in school, from our parents, from what we think society expects of us, and we're running off of these subconscious programs, and then we look back 40 years later wondering how the hell we ended up where we are right now. And the answer is because you were trapped in dogma. You were living as a result of thinking outside of yourself, right? So really, in order to take charge and master personal transformation, we have to, first of all, think clear thoughts and accompany those thoughts with elevated states of emotions, all right? And then once we do that, we are sending a clear, coherent signal to the quantum field, whereby those events will be drawn to us. All right, this is also known or commonly called the law of attraction as well. But right now I'm going to show you how to actually put all of this theory into practice, because we've talked a lot about it, and if you're still watching this right now, the dots probably connect, it probably makes sense to you, and I'll link out to resources where you can dive deeper into this stuff. But right now I'll reveal the number one thing, not the lot of number ones, but the number one thing you can do every single day that to really put this theory into practice. All right, so Dr. Joe Dispenza writes that in order to use this model of personal transformation, the events in your life and the results must come as a surprise, all right? Because if you are able to predict something with accuracy, then you have descended down to the level of classical Newtonian physics, where it's cause and effect, where you're looking for the external situation to cause an effect in your internal metaphysical situation, and that is against this model. All right, so events must come as a surprise. You must not even know how they came about. This is where we have stuff like synchronicity and just the cards lining up, and you couldn't even imagine how it took place. All right, so how do we go about this stuff? Well, like I said, the number one thing that you can do every single day to really put this theory into practice is through the practice of gratitude, right? Now, in their book, The Tools, Phil Stutz and Barry Michaels, they write that gratitude is not only an emotion, it is a higher organ of perception that allows us to perceive the spiritual world as clearly as our physical senses allow us to perceive this material world, right? So usually we are operating in the Newtonian physical model of the world, whereby we are grateful if we have something outside, right? So for example, I'm grateful for the warm bed I slept in. So the bed, although I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but that's still the Newtonian model, because we're looking for external situations to affect our internal state. But when we switch to this quantum model, in which we understand that the quantum field is a sea of infinite possibilities, in which everything that you could ever imagine already exists, then we can give gratitude and be thankful for an event that hasn't taken place yet, an event or an experience that is something you want, that is your dream. And if you can really clearly picture that in your head and give thanks for that every single day, while elevating your emotions and being grateful for this to actually exist, that is when we shift into the model of quantum. That is when we begin tuning the frequency of our being and our vibration towards our end goal, right? And gratitude, the state of gratitude, it has an electromagnetic signature of receiving, okay? Because so many times we're trying to get a result, but we don't allow ourselves to have it because we do not believe that we are worthy of it. You know, again, like I said, this might come down to programming that took place in our childhood or any other trauma that's holding us back from actually receiving the result that we want. But if we can really just make a practice of painting a clear picture in our head of what we want and visualizing it every single morning or every single day really, and allowing ourselves to couple that with a state of elevated emotion and really being grateful for that event, then that is when miraculous stuff starts to happen. Like in my own life, I remember before I was in Medellin, I had visualized this apartment with like beautiful views of the building and red brick walls around with like a jacuzzi on the rooftop, and lo and behold, that is exactly what I ended up finding in a Facebook group, right? So this stuff really is miraculous. It has the power to change your life to the extent that you allow it to. But if you just do this one thing and appreciate the presence of the quantum field and your desired situation existing there, then, like I said, miraculous stuff can start happening, and you will make progress in your life faster than you ever thought possible. All right, of course, this is something that I'm working on myself. Like, a problem I have is seeking clarity on what it is exactly that I want. But the more I can cultivate it, the more the dots begin to connect, the more I begin to see synchronicities in my life, and better I feel because I'm actually moving or drawing the people's events and places into my life that would further my evolution as a man and close the gap between who I want to be and who I am right now, right? So I hope that this has been valuable for you. I hope that this has expanded your awareness and really opened your eyes to what is possible for you if you put this stuff into practice. I promise you that it will change your life, right? So if you found something valuable in this video, if you learned something new in this video, make sure to click the subscribe button, because I am trying to release new content just like this every single week, right? And secondly, if you want to dive deeper into this stuff, make sure to check out Awaken Your Alpha, which is a step-by-step system which dives deeper into all of this stuff and more, of course, and shows you really how you can elevate your energy and change your life. All right, I link out to the page for that course below. And thirdly, leave a comment below. Let me know what is your number one struggle right now and what is your ideal situation right now, and I'll do my best to help you out. With all that being said, this has been Mo Salim, and I'll see you soon.